Hello YouTube, it's PS4 Gaming Scotland here and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well and gaming lots. On today's video, with the PS5 just around the corner for us in the UK, I thought it'd be a good time to look back at the 8th generation of consoles and talk about my memories of the PS4. So before we get into the video, let me know some of your thoughts about the PS4 games and exclusives and the games you remember playing this generation in the comments below. With that being said, let's jump into my memories of the 8th generation of consoles. So let's start right at the very start, and that will be with the midnight launch. Now, I don't know if you know, I love going to midnight launches in the past. Obviously with the current situation, I don't know if this will be possible for the PS5. I don't want to put myself in danger or anybody else in danger. But that being said, the midnight launch was for the PS4. I'll get into that in a second. So the build up to that potential event, now bearing in mind I wasn't able to get the PS4 online, so my plan was to phone up a couple of the supermarkets near me and the local game shop to see if they were doing a midnight launch for the console. A lot of them were, a lot of them were not. I also vividly remember my friends, two or three of my friends, going to their local game and picking up the console that way. Whether they were successful or not, that was another thing entirely. But for me, that week approaching the launch of the PS4 was incredible. I was stoked, I was really hyped, I really wanted to get my hands on this PlayStation 4. That week of college, I was in college during that time, and all the chats and from friends and people that I met on the course was all about the PS4 and the next generation of console, and obviously the Xbox One as well, but mainly the PS4. For the week leading up to the midnight launch, that's all we chatted in college, and my friends after college and online on Facebook, it was all about PS4, whether they'll be getting it, etc. It was just so much excitement at that time, and I would love to go back to that time. It was just incredible. So yeah, the 29th of November 2013 was when the PS4 launched in the UK, but prior to them I phoned up a few of the local supermarkets and game stores, and I was lucky enough to go to one of my local supermarkets. It was a 24-hour store, so I thought the night on the 28th, that was a Thursday, no, was it a Wednesday or a Thursday? I went to the local supermarket around 6 PM and there was already people queuing for the PS4, because word must have got out on Facebook or other social networks are available, or online or word of mouth, that this store was doing a midnight launch for the PS4. Now, so my thinking process was I better get there early on time, or I try and get there a few hours before, as I didn't think that they would have enough consoles in stock for everyone to get the PS4 at that midnight launch or on launch day. So that's what I did. Me and my dad, we went down to the local supermarket and started queuing around 6 PM of that evening. But while I was queuing, my dad went and picked up like little snacks and drinks and that for us to have while we were waiting in the queue. I got chatting to some of the people in that queue, chatting about the console, the games, and I got chatting to one lady that was really obsessed with PlayStation. I felt a really good community sort of spirit and atmosphere in the queue. Loads of people were queuing right behind me. I was near the front, so fingers crossed. I thought to myself that I was going to pick up a PS4. So yeah, we got chatting with a few people around about us in the queue, chatting about the PS4, some of the games that we were looking forward to. There was a couple of people that came in dressed as PlayStation characters. I think one guy was Kratos from God of War, and another one was, I think, Nathan Drake, I believe. So yeah, there's a couple people dressing as PlayStation characters, which I thought was awesome at the time. A lot of people were having a wee sing-song. There's a lot of people sitting on the floor just chatting, listening to music, etc., eating in the queue, and there was one guy that passed out a couple of items of food near me, and it was like, oh yeah, that's great. A really good community atmosphere was starting to build, and excitement levels were getting through the roof. So as we got closer to the launch of the console, more and more people started piling into the queue, and by this point the queue was wrapped around the whole of the sort of upstairs of where the gaming section was, and out heading down towards the main entrance. So I thought, I was thankful, I was lucky I was near the front of the queue, and obviously waiting in a queue can be a bit boring, so I just sort of stood there and just watched the world go by, because there was a nice wee balcony bit that you could see people come in and whatever. It was just fun. I just really enjoyed people watching. So yeah, as the time went on, the excitement, as I said, went higher and higher, and then eventually, maybe half an hour before, I saw an employee from the store bring out a big pallet of PlayStation 4 consoles, or what I assumed was PlayStation 4 consoles. And then when they started opening the boxes, the staff behind the till, there was about a good, I would say about 100 PS4 consoles at the store, and everyone was just really excited, and yeah, I was lucky enough to get a PS4 console. I was absolutely delighted, really excited. So yeah, so as soon as I got the PS4, I rushed back to the car, rushed back home, and it was about probably 1 in the morning at this point. I did have, was it a Saturday? I think it was a Saturday, I can't remember. But anyway, it was about 1 in the morning UK time at the time, and I just realised I'd literally set the thing up. PS4 launched onto the PS4, signed in, looked at the user interface, dabbled with that, and then I got a message from one of my friends that had went to the local game shop and said all 3 of them had got a PS4 as well. So we were all chatting PS4, and it was incredible. Now that moved me on to some of the launch games. Now the very first launch game I tried was Resogun. Now Resogun, for anyone that doesn't know, was like a 2D side scroller where you controlled like a little aircraft or ship, and you shot bullets at all the enemies. The object of the game was to defeat all the enemies. It was really bright and colourful, and you could move up and down, and you could go around in a sort of circle sort of motion. And obviously the object of the game was kill the enemies, save all the humans. PS4 controller had a built-in microphone that said save the last humans, and obviously you have to try and save all the green people on each of the levels to unlock a trophy. I believe there was a lot of difficult trophies, a really difficult platinum. That sort of first sort of launch game experience was incredible. And Resogun also had leaderboards, and obviously it had different difficulties, so I played in the easiest difficulty, got to the end I think of the game, but then you had other trophies for I think defeating the different levels on different difficulty modes, and it had leaderboards, so each level had a leaderboard of like the top people and whatever, and it was just really fun and addictive, and yeah, it was incredible. So the next sort of game was Contra. Can't remember if this game released as a PS Plus game, which I think it did, could be wrong on that, but yeah, Contrast was like a indie sort of title where you played as a girl, you went through the different levels collecting different items, talking to NPCs, but there was also an ability where you could switch into like the walls and different things like that you could access certain areas by doing so. That was really fun and exciting. I also tried the Playroom. Now that was like a tech demo on the PS4. Using the camera could allow you to play different mini games, but I didn't have or own the camera at the time, so it didn't work for me. But yeah, they were some of the launch games that I played. So yeah, let's jump into my further games I remember playing. So I do remember there being quite a big drought of games, or lack of games at launch for the PS4, but the games did eventually pick up pace and started releasing around early 2014. So Infamous Second Son and First Light, that is like the standalone DLC content for Infamous Second Son. Both of those games were incredible. They still hold up today. I didn't play those games right away at launch. I think I played them too a couple of years ago. Didn't jump on them right away, but they still hold up now. They were beautifully crafted games and they were really fun. And also there was trials in Infamous First Light that was just really fun and addictive. Try to get high scores and try to save hostages. That was just really fun and rewarding as well. So that was Infamous Second Son. We've also had the reboot of Ratchet and Clank in 2016. That was awesome fun. Last of Us Remastered. That did come out on PS3. The remastered version was on PS4. I didn't play that again back in 2014. I played that a couple of years maybe later. I do have a Let's Play on that on the channel if you want to check that out, and also I do have gameplay of Resogun also on the channel for you to have a look at and enjoy potentially. And so yeah, Last of Us Remastered. Didn't initially get the platinum. I've only went back this year 2020 to get the platinum and play Factions mode, and boy, that game was incredible. One of my favourite games of all time, The Last of Us, the first one. God of War 2018. Now obviously God of War was incredible. I hadn't played any of the God of War games prior to the 2018 version. Those ones didn't really appeal to me. All I knew that Kratos killed loads of gods basically. So the 2018, the over the shoulder camera, really action packed, getting collectibles, defeating the bosses, that's what God of War is to me, that style of game. Obviously a lot of people from the previous games may like or may dislike that style of God of War game, but personally I jumped on that right away. I loved that game. I think I platinumed that also this year because the Valkyrie Queen, I did do a lot of that game initially and then I left it for a good number of years and then went back to it this year to finally get the platinum. But that Valkyrie Queen was one of the most hardest bosses I've ever had to face and defeat. Well over 100 attempts, if not more, with pure frustration. But no, I'm very determined that way. If I start something, I have to finish it, and boy I did, and it was so rewarding. I actually fist pumped the air in excitement and I was just in awe, and it was just incredible that I got the platinum. Last of Us Part 2, again, already mentioned that I wasn't a fan of the story, but the actual gameplay, attention to detail, the open world environment were beautiful. Also Days Gone, I really enjoyed the story, the open world, the fact at the very end you could take out massive swarms of zombies challenges. There was a lot of strategy involved, using different equipment. That game was incredible. I personally loved it. Ghost of Tsushima, I've done a review very recently on that game. Thoroughly enjoyed that game. And the Resident Evil 2 remake, first experience of Resident Evil, and what a game it was. Very linear, story driven, had a lot of different types of enemies, weapons, puzzles, and it was just incredible. And boss fights were brilliant as well. There's probably loads more games that I played and I really enjoyed. They were just some of the games off the top of my head, but yeah, as always, that is my sort of PS4 memories of the midnight launch stage, some of the launch games, and some of the games I've enjoyed playing this generation. We've had one of the best generations for PlayStation exclusives to date, and yeah, that is the end of today's video. As always, let me know your thoughts below as to what PS4 exclusives and your memories of this current 8th generation of PS4 console in the comments below. But anyway, that is the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been PS4 Gaming Scotland, and I'll see you on another video. Thanks very much indeed, guys. Bye bye.